Before this video starts, I'd just like to make an announcement. I have the Liberal Tears mug for $14.99 on my website. It is the first link in the description if you want to go pick one up. Don't worry if it breaks when it comes to your house. I'll send you another one for free out of my pocket. I don't care. I want you to get your Liberal Tear mug. It comes in Liberal Tears white with the face, black with the face, white without the face, and black without the face. So pick whichever one you want, and it'll come to your door in about 3 to 5 days. So that should be epic. First link in the description. Thank you. Let's go on with the video.
Hi, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming here. I disagree with a lot of what you said tonight.
Good. That makes it fun.
I don't believe that being transgender means that you have some sort of mental illness.
Okay.
And I think that the majority of the psychological, national associations would agree with that. And I think that there's a lot of evidence that institutional racism exists, and that it manifests itself in very real and negative and harmful ways.
Okay.
But I don't feel any violence or animosity towards you, and I would say that most of the people that I know might wish that you wouldn't spread ideas. They might wish that you wouldn't spread ideas that they find harmful and negative, but they don't feel any direct ill will towards you in any violent way that they would carry out. So I guess what I've been feeling throughout this talk is kind of this vast mischaracterization of the left as some sort of homogenous, violent, oppressive body. And I think that the majority of the people that I know and the majority of the interactions that I've had with communities on a larger scale have not matched that representation. So I was wondering if you could kind of talk a little bit about the nonviolent.
So there are two aspects to the nonviolence, okay? And I think one you will agree with and one you will disagree with. So the one that you will agree with is the one that you've already agreed with, which is that you don't get to hurt people just because of what they're saying, right? This we all agree with. This is also the distinction. There's a reason I use the word leftist and not the word liberal. I think there is a distinction between people who are liberals and people who are leftists. I think that people who are liberals may disagree with me on politics, but they don't feel that they get to use force to shut people down. Leftists don't feel the same way. So that is an actual distinction. Now, here's the part where we'll disagree. I think that if you are seeking to use the government to cram down your particular vision of society on individuals in violation of their freedom, that this is an aspect of totalitarianism. Whether you want to shut me down or whether you want to, let's pretend for a second that I were a baker. And let's say that I'm a religious baker. I'm a religious person, so let's say I were a baker. And let's say that I don't want to participate in a same-sex wedding because I feel that that's sinful in my own religious belief. My belief is that's none of your business. The belief of most people on the left is that there should be legislation that forces me to cater to that same-sex wedding. By polls, this is true. So, now we're getting into dicey territory because now this does implicate violence. It implicates governmentally used violence. So, you can be, I'm happy you're libertarian essentially with regard to my speech. But when it comes to my behavior, you're significantly less libertarian than I am. You can do what you want, I don't care. But people on the left deeply care what I do in my personal life, that they have no right to my labor and they have no right to my services. So this is where the pedal hits the metal in terms of American politics, and this is where the pedal will hit the metal when the government starts getting more and more deeply involved. As far as the institutional racism, all I would ask you to consider, you can believe what you want, but I would ask you to consider this. Shouting institutional racism does not actually combat racism. You have to find individual instances, and you have to show me who the racists are so that we can fight them together. I hate racism. I think it's evil. But if you're just going to say institutional racism every time something bad happens, there's no way to fight it. I need a policy that you're proposing, or I need a person who's actually racist so that we can fight it together, or we can determine whether the policy is good. What I find really problematic is the virtue signaling that I see by so many people on the other side, which is, I don't have to give you the racist, I don't have to tell you who he is or what measures I'm proposing. I just say institutional racism, everybody cheers for me because that's an approved point of view, and now we move on with our lives. You haven't helped anybody, you've just made yourself feel better. If you want to, have her respond, please.
Well, I think that institutional racism in and of itself, first of all, I would say that the majority of the people that do bring up institutional racism do also have solutions as to how to combat it. But
it invariably involve encroaching on other people's liberty. But yes.
Well, I would just say that there is kind of, again, I feel like you're painting a wide and diverse group of people with the same brush and saying that if you can't point to a policy or if you can't point to a person, then you're just wasting everyone's time. And I think that a lot of people are trying to point to policies, and while I think that the idea of pointing to a racist person is fundamentally in contrast with the idea of institutional racism, because institutional racism grapples with implicit bias in the society as a whole, or not like a ghost in the machine, but in individuals.
Unless you're connecting that to a policy, it's a cop-out. Because now we're ghost hunting again. If you just said to me, we have a problem in American society, income inequality, right, is a problem in American society. If you just gave me any problem, and I said, well, that's the Bilderbergs' fault. Right, that's the fault of the Bilderbergs, right? It's a conspiracy. It's the fault of the Bilderbergs, right? There are all these conspiracy theories about the Bilderberg group. Now, let's say that it's the Bilderbergs' fault, or it's the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. It's whatever it is. There's some conspiracy out there. You would say to me, that's not useful because what are you even talking about? When you say institutional racism, it's too broad. You at least have to name me the institution. Which one is the racist one? Which institution is racist? Tell me which, so we can fight it seriously. So we can fight it together. Just shouting slogans like institutional racism it's not effective. Shouting white privilege is not effective. I want to be on your side. I do. I want to fight racists. I think racist behavior is evil. I want to fight it with you, but I can't fight it if you're not showing me what it is. And we have to decide together if the policies you're proposing will alleviate racism or exacerbate racism. And it turns out, I think that a lot of the policies proposed by the left, I think institutional racism is usually a lever for proposing a policy that is actually unpalatable to freedom, and then castigating people on the other side of that policy as being in league with the institutional racism. The policies are good or bad without regard to words like institutional racism, is what I'm saying. Honestly, I would love to sit down and talk with you for an hour about it because it's a worthwhile conversation, and I think we could actually get somewhere with it. But I think that slogans generally tend not to be particularly effective in getting us to.
Wish someone could come save me right now from you.
Right, well, nobody has to save you because you're a fucking white man who gets to do whatever he wants to in this space, right? Aren't you quite aware by holding that video camera on me that you are surrounded by your privilege, right? Take your privilege somewhere else, please.
Oh yeah! Hey, that sounds classic. Real classic.
You insensual piece of shit! You insensual piece of shit! What is America? Because white supremacy! White fucking supremacy!
That's how we feel about Nazis.
That's how we feel about Nazis and colonialism!
There you go.
That's all! We bought this flag!
Hey, this flag
is property!
genocide! This is a flag of occupation!
This is a flag of occupation! Colonialism! Genocide! Slavery! And we're gonna burn that shit! We're gonna burn what that shit symbolizes! Fuck that shit! This represents slavery! Colonialism! Genocide! Oppression! And it's all right to burn that shit!
Burn, baby, burn!
Burn, baby, burn! Burn that colonialism!
Burn, baby, burn! Burn, baby, burn!
Fuck colonialism! Fuck colonialism! Fuck genocide! Fuck slavery! That's what that stands for! Your ancestors were enslaved and that's what that stands for! Your ancestors were enslaved and that's what that stands for! What did you say?
What, do you want to bring up ISIS? ISIS has nothing to do with Islam. ISIS has everything to do with the U.S. imperialism. Who created ISIS?
Motherfucker! You look like an Uncle Tom, motherfucker! Your ancestors were taken here! Your ancestors were enslaved, you fucking idiot!
Fuck away from my friend, you son of a bitch! they? So who do you think you are?
I'm an immigrant.
And?
Illegal
and?
immigrant. You understand the difference?
Yeah.
Fucking what? Y'all were the ones who came over here on ships, motherfucker. Your crackers came over here on ships, all diseased and shit. You're coming over here saying, oh, this is our land. You're legal, you're alien.
No, you did because America does do. Yes, I do. Because, but I know you're a liar. You're a liar. Have mercy on those people in the desert.
Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you too.
Look at my face.
What? Go ahead. Punk ass.
Don't, guys, take a flower.
What?
Don't let him get in your face. He's trying to do that because he's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, so are you, you fucking asshole. So are you. So fuck you. No, yes, I do. You paid for it. You paid for it. Don't lie to these people. Don't lie. Don't lie. Don't you know it?
I know it.
Okay, explain it. Explain how you lie.
Everybody ready?
Explain how you lie.
Okay, we
Explain how
came
he
here in
paid for
99.
it.
We
He
came here
paid
in
for
99.
it.
I'll film who I want. You are in public, you can be filmed.
Another night, police! Fuck police! The police didn't start it!
Why? Are you a criminal? Criminals don't want to be filmed. If you were protesting, you should want to be filmed.
You sick! Talk sick!
Am I okay, officers?
You're fighting the wrong people. You're using your energy when you could be using it to
I'm not fighting you, dude. I'm documenting.
We are pro-life.
Document like that, yeah, man. Not doing anything to people's faces. He's staying away from
Fuck you! Fuck you!
You're just
Fuck police!
You might as well be in there, dude. Donald Trump.
Hey, you think he can get beat up for wearing that around here?
Oh, hell yeah, absolutely. Without it.
Just for wearing a shirt, though?
Oh, absolutely. That nigga ain't... Fuck that nigga. Straight up.
Hey, fuck Donald Trump, man.
Has returned. Heil Trump! Heil Trump! Welcome Nazi youth! Welcome Nazi youth! We need you! Kick all of everybody out! Please keep me out!
You all hate women. You're afraid of Mexican people. You're afraid of anybody other than the white man.
Like two Mexicans.
You're just fearful. You're afraid of things. That's why
you're making some pretty big judgments when you don't know anybody here.
I know what you're voting for.
Someone who supports Islamophobia, anti-Mexicanism, anti-Hispanic has to be a bigot. We're just asking for honesty.
The police have announced that they are getting ready to let the people who have attended Trump's rally, they're going to let them...
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice,
the roadway for vehicular and pedestrian traffic.
we got a significant development right here.
love you. I am fucking racist. Fuck all y'all.
Fuck y'all. We all racist. Shout the
Thank you.
Yeah, go fuck you, you racist piece of shit, you fucking redneck.
Do you want to walk out? Come on. Be peaceful. Go in peace.
You fucking white trash!
Be peaceful. Peaceful.
Yo, get the fuck out!
Come here.
No,
They just spit on her.
This man is savage. Hey, go Trump. Hey, go Trump. Go Trump. Go Trump. Go KKK. Go Justice USA. Go Trump. Go KKK. Go Justice USA.
So am I. But the Native Americans like to question it. This is why. Hold on.
Why do you carry a gun?
Because I'm a fucking American. Yeah,
I
I have that right.
Don't touch him, man.
I have the right.
You touch him, you're down.
This is my Second Amendment right. This is my Second Amendment right.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you an American?
And that's why we can't go this attitude with you. Yo, you know exactly what the fuck attitude means. I'm letting you know that I don't care about your fucking rhetoric. So
I'm still voting for Donald Trump.
I don't really care who you vote for.
I'm still voting for Donald Trump, buddy.
No, I can agitate because he's fucking agitating. So
still
what?
voting for Donald
So what?
Trump.
I can agitate because I don't care about going to jail. I know, yeah.
You're upset.
You're an idiot because you support Donald Trump. Well, I thought that you're with him. You're an idiot for calling me an idiot.
Dick sucking ass motherfucker. That's why you don't do shit. Swing at me, homie. Swing at me. Swing at me, homie. You ain't gonna do fucking shit. I've said you ain't gonna do shit.
Agitator! You're in the protest area.
These are the people who dislike Donald Trump. Look how they act. They're
sure about that? People that he asked his security guards to kick out of the rally.
Oh, and Valdosta State?
Yeah.
Talking about they were protesting against him.
Yeah, and what he's is that?
You
That's
cannot
shit
protest in a rally. Then why would you do that?
Why? It's freedom of speech.
We don't go to your rally. We don't go to your rally.
There.
He does the same thing to white people too. So I don't understand. He does the exact same thing to white people too. So.
And that makes it okay.
I mean, if you're gonna protest against us, yeah.
Yeah, like Trump supporters like freely protest.
Okay.
You should go get educated on what's
Oh,
important.
I'm very educated, man. I'm very educated.
You alright?
Mike Brothers, you got a bottle of water? If you guys, hang on a second. If you guys want, I'm listening. Very funny.
We fought against race.
Really? Watch out, Edge. No, fuck that. Yeah, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Fuck Trump! 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 So loud!
Nigga, all you motherfuckers get drafted, nigga. You gonna get drafted, nigga? Or you gonna run?
Hello everyone, hey, I'm just stopping by to remind you that liberals are insane. Social justice warriors are becoming more violent and triggered than ever before. Anyways, be sure to subscribe to KGP TV on YouTube and have a blessed day. Yeah, man.
What I've been feeling throughout this talk is kind of this vast mischaracterization of the left as some sort of homogenous, violent, oppressive body. And I think that the majority of the people that I know and the majority of the interactions that I've had with communities on a larger scale have not matched that representation. So I was wondering if you could kind of talk a little bit about the non-violent.
So there are two aspects to the non-violence, okay? And I think one you will agree with and one you will disagree with. So the one that you will agree with is the one that you've already agreed with.
Before this video starts, I'd just like to make an announcement. I have the Liberal Tears mug for $14.99 on my website. It is the first link in the description if you want to go pick one up. Don't worry if it breaks when it comes to your house. I'll send you another one for free out of my pocket. I don't care. I want you to get your Liberal Tear mug. It comes in Liberal Tears white with the face, black with the face, white without the face, and black without the face. So pick whichever one you want, and it'll come to your door in about 3 to 5 days. So that should be epic. First link in the description.
Which is that you don't get to hurt people just because of what they're saying, right? This week we all agree with. This is also the distinction. There's a reason I use the word leftist and not the word liberal. I think there is a distinction between people who are liberals and people who are leftists. I think that people who are liberals may disagree with me on politics, but they don't feel that they get to use force to shut people down. Leftists don't feel the same way. So that is natural distinction. Now here's the part where we'll disagree. I think that if you are seeking to use the government to cram down your particular vision of society on an individual,
institutional racism exists, and that it manifests itself in very real and negative and harmful ways.
Okay.
But I don't feel any violence or animosity towards you, and I would say that most of the people that I know might wish that you wouldn't spread ideas. They might wish that you wouldn't spread ideas that they find harmful and negative, but they don't feel any direct ill will towards you in any violent way that they would carry out. So I guess.
Thank you. Let's go on with the video.
Hi. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming here. I disagree with a lot of what you said tonight.
Good. That makes it fun.
I don't believe that being transgender means that you have some sort of mental illness, and I think that the majority of the psychological, national associations would agree with that. And I think that there's a lot of evidence that